Hello, World Wide Web. I'm Dr. Shado, the internet personality with the best hair. Now, Christmas comes but once a year, and Christmas specials, well, several times, especially thanks to whatever asshole came up with Christmas in July. The point is, I don't intend on letting Axing Dino-cember this year go to waste. A long-time request, much like Critters, The Thing, They Live, the Saw series, Phantasm,
2 hours later,
the Tremors TV series, and Empire Strikes Back, Gremlin is one of those classic movies from a lot of our childhoods that made such an impact. Well, we're still talking about it. It also helps that the creature effects are very impressive and hold up pretty well today. I mean, they're not, oh my god, so lifelike, but they are very good looking, and they use creative camera angles to try and mask the limitations and make them seem like they're actually more capable than they were of doing all sorts of crazy shit. Why as a Christmas review, though? Well, if I reviewed Die Hard as a Christmas special, then there's no question Gremlins falls under a Christmas movie whatsoever. The monsters in question may have fuck all to do with Christmas or Christmas legends, but the movie as a whole focuses very strongly on it taking place throughout Christmas Eve into Christmas, with tons of holiday music and decorations all over the fucking place. Well, there's something I'm forgetting for this intro. Exactly what the fucking movie is about in the first place. Spoiler alert, Gremlins is about gremlins, specifically mogwai, which evidently can be found in shady shops specializing in foreign goods. The thing is, they may be cute and fuzzy, but they have 3 rules you absolutely must obey, or things take a dark turn. As this is a movie, naturally everyone involved fucks this up completely in record time. Not insanely fast by movie standards, though. This is produced by Spielberg, not Charles Band. But anyway, let's take a look at Gremlins and get into the holiday spirit of people being ripped limb from limb by formerly cute little cuddly monsters. The movie opens in a mysterious, shady foreign market located in Averageville, USA. It's just Chinatown, which makes me think the fog's coming from smug machines trying to impress the tourists. It seems Randall Peltzer, played by Hoyt Axton, has come down here in an attempt to find the neatest Christmas gift ever for his son, as well as hawk his own wares to the locals.
Now let's just say, for the sake of argument, that you're on a bus or a plane or a train. You forgot to brush your teeth.
Or no matter how many times you do, you always run into people who don't seem to get that they don't grow back. But either way, I'm pretty sure that dentine gum is far easier to carry than your hygienic multi-tool. To be fair, a lot of bulk could be cut down if he'd stop filling them with a year's worth of toothpaste, but either way, Mr. Wing, played by Kay Luke, isn't impressed by it. No bother, there's something else in here that interests Randall more than potential shrinkage.
What is that?
Mogwai.
That's so cute! What does it mean? Demon! Oh, it's a very cute demon! In seconds, Randall decides he absolutely must have the mogwai, and fortunately for Mr. Wing, Peltzer sucks at haggling, offering $200 in short order.
I'm sorry. Mogwai not for sale.
Mogwai only for rental. And business parties. Hearing that the sale of such a thing would be completely irresponsible, Mr. Wing's grandson, played by John Louis, decides, screw it, the shop needs the money, and secretly meets up with Mr. Peltzer later to make the deal. Thing is, there's a few rules to keep in mind. Bright lights hurt mogwai, sunlight will kill them, absolutely never get them wet, and, of course,
No matter how much he cries, no matter how much he begs, never feed him after midnight.
so, after midnight, when is it okay to start feeding them again? I mean, is it dawn, maybe? What about up near the North Pole during summer when the sun never goes down? Can they just gorge 24/7, no problem there?
Jesus, everyone's already made that argument, you fucker. They talk about it in the sequel. The fucking sequel!
But if I don't mention it, it's gonna be over half the comments. What am I supposed to do?
You know what, motherfucker? Go fuck yourself.
With that dark and ominous intro out of the way, holy motherfucker does the movie jump right into the Christmas spirit, introducing the setting, a generic suburban nightmare, and a few more characters. Randall's son Billy, played by Zach Galligan, his dog Barney, played by Mushroom, and neighbor Murray Futterman, played by Dick Miller.
See that plow? 15 years old. Hasn't given me a day's trouble in 15 years. You know why? Kentucky Harvester. It ain't some farm piece of crap you pick up these days. That's a Kentucky Harvester.
Who you likely remember from, well, practically every other movie ever made. I mean, I could do a Dick Miller special and it would last 2 years. In any case, Billy here works at the bank, along with his love interest, Kate, played by Phoebe Cates. But alas, with all these happy character introductions, we have an evil money grubber come to ruin Christmas, Mrs. Deagle, played by Polly Holliday.
The bank and I have the same purpose in life, to make money.
And in doing so, we must crush all the spirits of those petty little poor people, because I cannot make money with poor tenants. I must rake in the dough of evicting them all and having no tenants. Wait. She's clearly a character written to be evil for the sake of it, and throw our happy characters into crisis situations for no apparent reason.
Maybe I'll put him in my spin dryer on high heat.
That'd do it all right.
And at this point, the character pretty much completely fucking disappears for the rest of the movie. I mean, they do appear a little bit here and there, but not like in the novelization or earlier drafts of the script where they were much more involved in things throughout. But, I mean, you got little monsters running around killing everybody. Why the hell do you need Ebenezer Menopause? It's far more important to awkwardly establish these guys have swords on the wall. I mean, we also have to show that Mr. Peltzer has all sorts of inventions of questionable reliability, but come on, we awkwardly established the wall swords twice in like 5 minutes, so it's gotta be important. No time to spend any more time with them, though. Randall has to give his son that super special gift.
You're kidding. Dad, it's really neat.
That's gotta be like a dagger of ice in the man's heart. He scoured the shops all across the city, possibly many cities, finding the best Chinatown to get this little furry, cute little thing that has the potential to destroy the city. And all this kid can say in response to this gift is, neat. Randall explains the thing's called a mogwai, but he's taken to just calling it Gizmo. Also, they break a rule in about 10 seconds, so Mr. Peltzer goes over the 3 rules with the family. Afterwards, Gizmo is simply the new family pet, but wouldn't you know it? The next day, Pete, played by Corey Feldman, shows up to deliver the Peltzer's Christmas tree. That means it's time to completely fuck everything up.
Can I hold him?
Sure. I don't see why not. He seems to like you. Great. Thanks a lot.
Who's in that jar?
Nothing, just water.
Well, at least it's not as forehead slap-inducing as bringing the mogwai out to someone who responds with a spit take. Revealing why you don't want to get a mogwai wet. It seems when they contact water, they reproduce, as Gizmo ejects 5 fuzzy balls that take seconds to grow into even more mogwai. No, these aren't quite as nice as Gizmo.
Hey, look, that one's got a cute little stripe on its head.
Isn't that incredible, Pete?
Originally, Gizmo and Stripe were actually the same character. It's just that they say that Spielberg really thought it was a good idea to have a good one for the audience to get behind from beginning to end. Upon learning about this capability, Randall realizes what this means they must do. Make a fuck ton of money.
The Peltzer Pit. This could really be the big one.
Randall, how the hell are you supposed to keep your supplying the demand when all it takes to mass produce these things is to hold them for a couple of minutes under a flowing tap? Interestingly, it's Billy who's more concerned about figuring out why this happens and what exactly is going on with mogwai biology. As I haven't made a video about that yet, he instead takes it to a biology teacher, Roy Hansen, played by Glenn Turman.
I keep one of these here. Run some tests on them.
Yeah. I think I could spare one.
Gotta love how high school, middle school, and fucking elementary school teachers in movies have full-on lab equipment right there at their disposal. I mean, what better way to learn about nuclear power than building your own fucking reactor out of popsicle sticks and paper mache? We've still got some time before the point of no return, however, so after we watch Dick Miller blame all his mechanical problems on Gremlins, installed secretly by foreign manufacturing processes, we hear something far more disturbing. Kate doesn't celebrate Christmas!
Say you hate Washington's birthday or Thanksgiving and nobody cares, but say you hate Christmas and everybody makes you feel like you're a leper or something.
Hey, I'll have you know Thanksgiving is fucking amazing and I will not hear any bad-mouthing of Turkey Day. Also, I don't know if you realize this, but Washington was kind of important for America. His dismissal of her holiday-related anxiety and complete lack of game is okay, though. She still agrees to go out with him on a date Thursday night. However, when he gets home, it seems that his little box of horrors is hungry.
Well, it's not 12 o'clock yet. All right.
Oh, wait, 12 o'clock daylight savings or standard?
Fuck off with that shit right now!
Whatever the case, Billy provides the mogwai with a gigantic plate of chicken, and coincidentally enough, the one at school swipes a sandwich at the same time. The next morning, though, we see that the cute fuzzy critters have cocooned. Billy's mother, Lynn, played by Frances Lee McCain, asks if he fed them after midnight, to which we find out.
Mom, what's going on here?
It's an electronic device. It doesn't work without electricity. And don't you go blaming the mogwai on this one. I see a battery compartment on that, you dumb shit. If this is too confusing for the viewers, don't worry. Mr. Hansen explains that these are cocoons, and therefore the Mogwai are undergoing a metamorphosis. Of course, he doesn't know enough to pay attention to the thing, or keep it in a container any more secure than a cardboard box. Even worse, we get full confirmation that this is, in fact, an honest-to-God horror movie.
You try some of this now. I know you got to be hungry. There now. Don't you feel better, huh?
Only black man in town. What are the odds? Thus, by the time Billy responds to his call, he finds he has been killed. Can't call for help as whatever the Mogwai is transformed into is guarding the phone. Ah well, the puppets are good enough that they couldn't resist showing them off sooner rather than later. The Gremlins, capable of amazing feats of agility and strength. At the very least, when off screen. Billy rushes to warn his mother about them, but it's too late. The little bastards take after Voorhees, cutting the phone lines first and foremost. Peltzer is all alone in a house full of minuscule murderous monsters. Oh, and ridiculous impractical kitchen machinery, which, while terrible for preparing food, proved to be excellent when it comes time to kill some gremlins.
Get out of my kitchen!
And when all else fails, you could always fall back on the classic Bates maneuver in a horror movie. One microwaved gremlin later, and we've got two left roaming around, stalking Mrs. Peltzer. And unfortunately for her, these things really know how to pull off an ambush. Not to fear, Billy has come to save the day, along with the handily established swords from earlier. Thing is, Stripes survived this assault and escapes out into the night. Thus, Billy has to track him down. In a bit. First he's got to get Gizmo, because he's just so cute. Together, they track Stripe down to the YMCA building and the big fucking indoor swimming pool. But he did run through water the whole way there. I mean, they found him by tracking his footprints. His footprints in the snow. The snow is made of water. I mean, just add body heat. As a light splash produced 5 and a drop 1, an Olympic swimming pool makes hundreds of the goddamn things. Naturally, the first thing they set about doing is causing random havoc all over town.
There's a real gremlin in my cave!
Which brings us many funny, memorable, and traumatizing scenes. Not all of them are completely plot relevant, but This includes mailbox mischief and playing some watchdogs. On the plus side, the Gremlins' antics do very definitively finish up the Mrs. Deagle subplot from earlier in the movie. Really makes you appreciate the buy up half the town and dismantle it and turn it into a strip mall thing. Though in the other story it was changed to selling it to a chemical company for some reason or some shit. Was that the comic or the novelization? You know, it doesn't fucking matter. There's a reason the movie's called Gremlins and not Wicked Old Mrs. Deagle. Speaking of characters with very little influence on things, whatever happened to Mr. Peltzer? Well, he's still trying to get home, and keeps getting sidetracked by selling everything he has to everyone he comes across.
This is the Peltzer smokeless ashtray. I think this can solve your problem here, sir.
Ah, yes, the perfect gift for the smoker in your life who can't stand the smell of smoke. And he can't vape because he just doesn't like cock that much. Where's Kate in all of this? Still working on her second job at the bar, now doing everything she can to serve her very rude, loud, destructive, small, and green patrons. Which is made harder by the fact that they can't stand bright light and therefore will not let her light their cigarettes. Which still makes me wonder how in the hell they managed to light all their other cigarettes, but Gotta give it to Kate, though. She instantly makes a connection between their reaction and the light, instead of thinking it was the heat or fire that they didn't like, and happened to have a handy-dandy Polaroid camera nearby that she could use to escape, until it runs out of film and fails to flash anymore. But Billy has come to save the day! And finally, annoying the piss out of someone with your high beams is a productive thing to do. Billy's still a fucking idiot, though, turning his car completely off and then magically being unable to get it started again. Thus, they must run! Really starting to make me wonder why they don't just run around wielding mag lights to defend themselves, especially considering they do have flashlights at their disposal, but never mind any of that. Billy and Kate escape into the bank. Suddenly, upon entering, the gremlin problem 10 feet behind them is forgotten completely, so Kate can recall why she doesn't celebrate Christmas. Seems her father went missing one Christmas Eve. After several days and conducting a police search, they came up empty-handed, wondering what happened.
The house was freezing, so I went to try to light up the fire. And that's when I noticed the smell.
Baloney and shame? Dad's home! Actually, it's worse. Seems her dad was stuck in the chimney with a broken neck, dressed as Santa. How the hell no one in the house noticed the dead guy smells sooner and any further than right under his dead ass, I don't know. But moving on, it seems the Gremlins problem has settled in town. The streets are abandoned and everything is eerily quiet. This is because they all went to the movies. Yes, all of them. We've got a climax to take care of, after all.
What are they doing?
We're watching Snow White. And they love it.
It's said that the reason Snow White was chosen is that Disney originally released it on December 21st. Even though it had, fuck all to do with Christmas. Unlike Gremlins, which was released on June 8th. Yeah. Seeing them all clumped together gives Billy an idea, so he and Kate head down to the movie theater's boiler room, while Stripe is distracted by a candy store across the street. Nevertheless, they release the valve for the gas, light a rag, and move to escape. Right at the wrong time, getting the attention of the hundreds of little monsters populating the theater, but it's cool, the movie's gotta end sometime, so they barricade them in there and hit the dirt. Okay, don't anyone say that this horror movie is light on a body count. So their problems are solved. Except, of course, for the fact that Stripe was across the street and easily survived, so they must catch up with the monster and finish him off. The thing is, this is a man's job, so Billy fucks this up by taking it upon himself to see it through. Obviously, this doesn't work as Stripe attacks him with a motherfucking chainsaw! Which should easily just slice right through that wooden bat and cut the motherfucker in half, but unfortunately, some asshole working on this thing must have thought that we actually wanted to see him live or some shit. Have no fear though, Gizmo moves in to save the day, while at the same time Kate finally gets the lights on, keeping Billy in one piece. Thing is, this fight isn't over yet. Cecile, you can find that practically everywhere. Find a sink, find a tap, boom, you got like unlimited water. I don't see why this is so hard for you guys to figure out. Okay, finding one of those in your size is rather impressive. Thus, it's the final showdown, as Stripe stands ready to soak himself in the fountain and shoot any motherfucker who dares to try to stop him. As he's more than close enough to get wet already, and no reproduction ever took this much water before, but it's gotta take extra long this time. We need to give Gizmo a chance to catch up to the climax and pull the curtains, revealing deadly sunlight directly onto Stripe, who then dies as gruesomely as possible. You gotta hand it to the little guy, though. He might not have flesh or blood at this point, but he's full of determination. And he's fucking dead. Therefore, happy ending! All the gremlins have been defeated, and Gizmo is perfectly fine, except perhaps a little sick from the cold. The problem the family has, though, is that Mr. Wing has returned, and is not particularly happy with what's transpired.
You teach him to watch television. Oh no.
Not the bright lights of getting wet at the feeding after midnight parts, the fucking HBO. Of course, he is still upset with both the chaos that ensued after the sale, and the fact that the sale even happened in the first place. So, sadly, Gizmo must return to Mr. Wing's care. But the little guy says he wants to tell Billy something.
You mean you understand what he says when he speaks to you?
To hear, one has only to listen.
Yeah, he's been speaking English the whole movie. It's not exactly hard to understand the Mogwai's voiced by Howie Mandel. He simply says, "Bye, Billy," and that's that. However, Mr. Peltzer wants to do what he can to make things right by offering Mr. Wing his latest invention.
Smokeless ashtray.
How did you know that?
Man at gas station tried to sell me.
In middle of deal, man. died of asphyxiation. Maybe later. Anyway, that was Gremlins, and it's said to be one of the movies that was so gruesome for a G movie, or a PG movie. I get those confused. It's responsible for the existence of the PG-13 rating. Thing is, despite all of its reputation, I don't think it's really that hardcore. I don't just mean by today's standards either, although around the same time the MPAA was going nuts censoring R-rated slasher flicks, Gremlins doesn't really get all that gruesome. Hell, according to my research, there were a great many scenes that were supposed to be in it that were a hell of a lot darker, like the biology teacher's face being pincushioned by syringes, or the gremlins going to McDonald's to eat the customers. And it's kind of funny that, in a way, PG-13 exists because parents couldn't be arsed to check ahead of time if a movie rated parental guidance suggested was okay for their kids. This rant's getting off topic though, so let's get back to the movie. Obviously, it's a very entertaining flick, relying heavily on gags, which, with the nature of the gremlins, is perfect for. Perhaps, though, it might rely a bit too heavily on gags, as a lot of the scenes come off a bit disjointed. That, combined with the fact that the subplots got severely edited down in the theatrical cut of the movie, yet the film still takes its time introducing all of the major players for them, it does make the experience a tad imbalanced. However, as a horror movie for a younger audience, I think Gremlins works very well. Its emphasis is more on silly antics and dark humor, but it does have some legitimately freaky parts. It's not flawless, but like a gremlin tossing plates with extremely obvious arm rods, generally you don't care because you're having too much fun. Therefore, Gremlins comes in at 4 drunken, deranged, demonic dudes out of 5. And it's a great Christmas movie, in my opinion. Although, the plot really doesn't center around Christmas and Christmas legends and the story of Christmas or anything like that, but I mean, how many Christmas movies actually do that? I mean, you got the stop-motion ones from forever ago, and well, what else? And anyway, thank you all for watching. I've been Dr. Shado. And remember, never, ever, ever give your mogwai water. But as the bar scene showed, beer is okay, so drink up.
What's that back there? Some Rocket Ricky fan thing? Hey, you're not Rocket Ricky fan!